Siberia, Russia, 30th of June 1908. In a woodland area surrounding the Tunguska River, not far from modern-day Krasnoyarsk, lies one of the most desolate areas of the most desolate region of the Russian Empire. It's a crisp, cloudless morning. All is quiet, but something is about to happen. In a few minutes, the sky will open in two, torn asunder by fire and a sound of thunder. A storm of time and space will descend from the sky and strike at the earth. In this video, we are going to explore Tunguska, an area whose name would be confined to the Atlases, if it wasn't for the mysterious event that lit the skies and shook the earth for a radius of 1,000 kilometers. This enigma would challenge researchers for 105 years before a conclusion could be drawn, so let's kick things off. At precisely 7:17 a.m., an inexplicable explosion rocked the skies above the Tunguska River. 1,000 kilometers away from ground zero, seismic waves registered with an intensity comparable to the Richter scale's 5th degree. Witnesses 500 kilometers away reported deafening blasts and a fiery cloud on the horizon. At 170 kilometers from the epicenter, just before the explosion, onlookers observed an object in the clear daytime sky, a brilliant sun-like fireball hurtling at an astonishing speed, accompanied by thunderous noises. As we approached the explosion site, 60 kilometers away, inhabitants experienced the shockwaves, throwing people to the ground and rendering some unconscious. Shattered windows, falling furniture, and shards of glass added to the chaos. Now, at a mere 30 kilometers from the blast, the closest inhabited area, a group of reindeer herders were caught off guard in their tents. A sudden deflagration sent them airborne, leaving an elderly herder fatally injured. Hundreds of reindeer perished, trees ignited, and the forest succumbed to flames. Eyewitness accounts from Occurrence and nearby towns described a fireball streaking obliquely across the sky, followed by thunderous crashes and gunshot-like sounds. Phrases like, "a ball of fire coming down," "a flying star with a fiery tail," and "its tail disappeared into the air," were flying around. The Tunguska event was a cataclysmic occurrence etched into the fabric of history, leaving an enduring mystery that captivated minds for over a century. As the celestial object descended, approaching the horizon, eyewitness accounts consistently described it as a towering pillar of fire. This fiery spectacle, 2 or 3 times larger than the sun but less bright, left behind a trail resembling a fiery white stripe, with hues shifting between red and bluish white. Minutes after the explosion, observers from a distance reported the emergence of a vertical column of smoke on the horizon. One witness said, "Where the body disappeared behind the horizon, a pillar of dark smoke rose up." However, it remained unclear whether this pillar was a mushroom-like cloud directly generated from the explosion or smoke stemming from the ensuing forest fires. After the mysterious event, strange things happened in the sky over Russia and Europe. There were glowing clouds, beautiful sunsets, and a faint light during the night. People were curious about these unusual sights. Sadly, it was hard to investigate more because Tunguska was in a remote area, and Russia had political problems. Almost 2 decades later, a scientist named Leonid Kulik finally led an expedition to uncover what really happened in the area. In 1921, Leonid Kulik, a former soldier turned professor of mineralogy, was tasked with locating and examining meteorites within the Soviet Union. During his preparations, he stumbled upon an account of the Tunguska explosion reprinted from an old newspaper. While his initial expedition in 1921 only allowed him to pinpoint the general blast area, not visit it, Kulik continued collecting stories about the event. One particular account, shared by ethnographer Inem Suslov, stood out. It described a family living 25 miles from the blast, thrown down by the force of the explosion, with several members knocked unconscious. Upon waking, they found the forest ablaze with many fallen trees, recounting a terrible storm, making it challenging to stand. Kulik's determination led to a second expedition in the spring of 1927. Despite facing challenges such as inaccurate maps, confused compasses, and inhospitable terrain, he reached the town of Vanavara on the Tunguska River by the end of March. This marked the last outpost of civilization before delving into the swampy forest, where Kulik aimed to locate the event site. Attempting to gather information from locals, he encountered reticence, as many were reluctant to discuss the event. The Tungus, an ethnic minority with shamanic beliefs, attributed the event to Oji, the local god of thunder, cursing the area. Fearful of divine retribution, no one dared to approach the site. Kulik had to wait until April, when the snow melted, to continue on horseback, facing infections and malnutrition among his party. After exchanging horses for reindeer, the expedition reached the Makirta River, where they encountered the first signs of the Tunguska blast, fallen and charred trees. Kulik saw that the trees had been burned from above, indicating a sudden flash of intense heat, rather than a typical forest fire. As they approached the blast's epicenter, local guides, wary of Oji's wrath, refused to continue. Kulik had to return to Vanavara and hire new scouts. Returning to the dead forest on May 20th, Kulik's team found fallen trees pointing toward Ground Zero, located in an area known as the Southern Swamp. Despite expecting a crater, Kulik found none upon reaching the epicenter. Instead, he encountered a standing forest of charred trunks, stripped of branches like telephone poles. The landscape was eerie, with the solid ground heaving outward in giant waves like water ripples. Despite returning for expeditions in 1929 and 1938, Kulik couldn't solve the mystery of the missing crater. Another scientist, E.L. Krenov, proposed in 1940 that the meteorite had exploded mid-air, explaining the absence of a crater. However, the war interrupted his research, leaving Tunguska shrouded in mystery for decades. Investigated late, with limited information beyond scientific circles, and under the secretive Soviet regime, Tunguska gave rise to various theories about its nature. Engineer and sci-fi writer Alexander Kazantsev and Soviet scientist Alexei Zolotov theorized that a nuclear explosion of possible extraterrestrial origin caused the Tunguska blast. They suggested either a UFO malfunction or the detonation of an interplanetary weapon for unknown reasons. Kazantsev also noted geomagnetic anomalies similar to those of a nuclear blast recorded at the Irkutsk station. T.R. Lemaire, a science writer, expanded on this, hinting at the blast's seemingly fortuitous timing, raising questions about its accidental nature. Calculating Earth's rotation, Lemaire suggests a 5-hour delay would have targeted St. Petersburg. A minor trajectory change could have hit China or India. Lemaire speculates the object was expertly navigated, using Lake Baikal as a reference and changing direction mid-flight. He said aliens may have been on a bombing mission, but opted for mercy, dropping the weapon in an inhabited area. The next theory blames Nikola Tesla's failed experiment related to his Wardenclyffe Tower on Long Island. The tower aimed for global wireless communication and energy transmission but was abandoned. Some propose Tesla accidentally fired a blast of energy intended for the North Pole but hit Tunguska. Aligning with claims of Tesla's death ray, the theory suggests an operational superweapon caused the blast. Tesla did design a beam projector called Teleforce later in his career. A 1973 Nature paper suggested a small black hole collided with Earth, causing Tunguska. The Center for Relativity Theory, University of Texas, proposed the black hole descended on Tunguska and exited in the North Atlantic, creating the craterless impact. This theory remained unproven. Another hypothesis proposed matter and antimatter collision as the cause, but it too lacked validation. Russian researchers proposed a comet fragment caused the damage, evaporating violently upon entering Earth's atmosphere. On the contrary, the fire from the Earth theory suggested vernishots, magma reactions erupting violently from underground. But geologists found no evidence of shattered rocks or gas vents, challenging these theories. The common explanation posits that a rocky meteorite exploded before hitting Earth's surface, as theorized by Krenov. This explains the lack of a crater, but raises questions about the absence of fragments. In 2013, a team led by Viktor Kvasnitsia of the National Academy of Sciences of Ukraine ended speculations by analyzing microscopic rock samples from the explosion site in 1978. The samples, of meteoric origin, contain traces of lonsdaleite, a mineral formed when a meteor crashes into Earth. Kwasnitzia asserted that nothing paranormal happened at Tunguska. Despite this, the alien bombing theory and Tesla's involvement still lingered in some circles. Today, the consensus is that the Tunguska event happened due to a large meteor colliding with Earth's atmosphere. The fragile nature of the meteor, or the intensity of the explosion, obliterated its remnants 8-10 kilometers above Earth, preventing the formation of a crater. The atmosphere vaporized the object into tiny pieces, releasing intense kinetic energy that transformed into heat, explaining the observed phenomena. The meteor entered Earth's atmosphere at about 15 kilometers per second, and the explosion's energy, equivalent to 500 kilotons of TNT, was 60 times the power of the Hiroshima bomb. While smaller impacts like the Chelyabinsk meteor occur more frequently, larger impacts similar to Tunguska's are estimated to happen every millennium. NASA wants to be prepared and is developing systems to better understand and stop potential threats from asteroids. So, what are your thoughts on what we can expect from the next meteor attack like Tunguska? Let us know in the comments down below. And if you're intrigued by space-related topics and want to stay informed, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.